Welcome back to Travels with Alicia. In this episode, I will talk about Charleston, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia, and I'll reveal which city was my favorite. In September, I visited both with my sister and a great friend. We had a wonderful trip, we saw a lot, and we ate great food. These cities are about a 2-hour drive apart, so it is very doable to do both of these cities in one trip. You can fly just as easily into either. So this is helpful so you can pick which of these airports is less expensive for you. We flew into Savannah and drove 2 hours to start our trip in Charleston. This way we could end the trip in Savannah, which was closer to our airport. So we landed in Savannah around 1 o'clock and we picked up our rental car and we were already getting hungry. So we took a short detour to Beaufort for lunch. And this is a little town. It was a little out of our way to Charleston, but maybe only like 30 minutes. And this little town is on the water. So we ate at a beautiful waterfront restaurant, and I had the best shrimp and grits. I felt like we had just started our culinary journey. This is different than the shrimp and grits that we get around our area. It was basically a light gravy with ham and shrimp. It was so delicious. And it was just definitely started our plan to be trying shrimp and grits everywhere. So let's get started with Charleston. It is a small coastal city on the southern east coast of the U.S. It's only about 135 square miles. It's definitely a small city. This small city won so many awards. Charleston has been named the best small city in the world. It has been named the best city in the South, the best small city in the U.S., for many years in a row. So I believe no matter where you're from, you've probably heard of Charleston, South Carolina. So let me tell you a little bit about why it keeps winning these awards and why it's so impressive. I will tell you, my expectations were really high because I do know many people that have said Charleston was their favorite city in the world. And these are well-traveled people. So what is Charleston actually known for? It's full of historical firsts for the United States. They had the first museum was actually established in Charleston, the first theater, the first public college. The College of Charleston is the oldest municipal college in the United States. It was founded in 1770. Also, Charleston's known for the first golf club. It's called the Charleston Green, and that was established in 1787. So you can see there's a lot of history here, but it's also known for its role in the American Civil War. The actual start of the Civil War happened here in Charleston, and the first shots were fired at a place called Fort Sumter. And this is a little island right off the coast of Charleston. And one of the things you can do is you can take a boat ride over there and see it. And that's a big tourist attraction. It also served as the Confederate capital for 2 years during the war. So there is amazing history in Charleston. Not all of it is good. The slave history is tragic and very sad. There's large cotton and rice plantations, and they were worked by the slaves. So there's so many plantations you can visit. We visited 2, and both of these encouraged everyone to attend the sessions about slave history. And also, when we were touring the grounds, the guides would stop the tours and ask everyone for silence when passing the slave quarters. So even when the slaves were free to leave, the system was set up against them. They would receive extremely low wages, and then they were forced to purchase all their necessities at very high prices at special stores that were actually set up on the plantation. So this made it very hard for them to ever save money and ever get out and start a new life. So what else is there to do in Charleston? Before we move on for the plantations, I think I'm going to tell you about the 2 that we actually visited. The first one was called Boone Hall Plantation and Gardens, and this is still a fully working farm plantation. And I love the entrance to this plantation. So one of the things that I was excited about this trip was when I got to Savannah, to see the big, beautiful oak trees that have moss growing all over them. These trees are very iconic of that city, so I was shocked to see them at the plantation. So what I learned is that maybe downtown Charleston doesn't really have this, but outside of Charleston, they also have these beautiful trees with moss all over it. So there was a huge entrance, and it was lined with these large oak trees covered in moss. It is so photogenic, and it's absolutely beautiful. So the house was also very impressive, and we went on a tour of that and the plantation. They had like a tractor pulling a carriage with about 50 seats in it. So it was comfortable to go around and see everything. And they told us, a lot about the plantation. And also this plantation was used in the film, The Notebook. So if you've seen that movie, you would probably recognize some of the scenery. Also, Boone Plantation, the Boone Hall Plantation and Gardens, is the home to the largest oyster festival in the whole world. So I've just started eating oysters about a year ago. So this is kind of new for me, but my sister loves oysters. Unfortunately, it wasn't going on when we were there, but it's something to think about. If you're a big fan of oysters, this is the largest in the world. And I think they were saying there's over like 50,000 people that go. It's just amazing. The other plantation that we visited was called Magnolia Plantation. And I think we picked the two largest. The Boone Hall and Magnolia are probably the largest and most famous of the plantations. It was beautiful. Magnolia was beautiful. We did a tour around the grounds, and they have a huge swamp. And this swamp was full of alligators. So when we were on this tour, which we were riding again around the plantation, the swamp was covered with green algae, and you can see the alligators moving all over. So some people were walking, which really I didn't understand. I don't think I'd want to be walking with all those alligators that could get out of the swamp. But anyway, it was very picturesque. And I found out that this location in this swamp was used as the inspiration for the swamp in the Shrek movies. So I could actually see that. So also the movie called The Best of Me, I guess it's a Nicholas Sparks novel, that was also filmed at Magnolia Plantation. And then I don't know about if you know this, but this is a long time ago, but it is also the filming location of the cult classic called The Swamp Thing. I've never seen that, but I think it has a big cult classic following. So maybe you're aware of that. It was filmed at Magnolia Plantation in the swamp. So what are some other things to do? We've talked a lot about the plantations. You can go to the Battery, and this is a famous seawall, and you can walk along it, and you can see Fort Sumner. That's where the Civil War started. But it's also lined, this whole area is lined with beautiful, grand, historic mansions. You can even tour a lot of them. They'll have people sitting at the front on the big porches, and you can go up and buy a ticket and either just walk through or take a tour. The other thing to do is, if you're downtown Charleston, is visit City Market. And the City Market is one of the oldest public markets in the nation. And there are so many handmade crafts or souvenirs that you can find. And one specialty of the area is the sweetgrass baskets, and they sell them there. You can also wander through the French Quarter. It has beautiful, narrow cobblestone streets. You can visit Waterfront Park, and that's where the iconic Pineapple Fountain is, and it's beautiful. And one of the best things to do is, obviously, when you're in Charleston, have a great meal. It is definitely a foodie city. They are known for Southern seafood classics. Both Charleston and Savannah are influenced by the Gullah Geechee culture. And these people resided in coastal communities and the islands from Wilmington, North Carolina, all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. This was actually recognized as a heritage corridor. And these ancestors of the Gullah culture were actually brought from West Africa, and they were brought from rice-growing regions in Africa because they had such agricultural knowledge. And so they were brought to Charleston. They have an English-based Creole language, and they are the ones that have been known to make these sweetgrass baskets. And I saw them. They are beautiful. But let me tell you, they are so expensive. It's obviously a craft that's been passed down, and they're really well made. I think it was hundreds of dollars for a basket, some of the nice baskets I saw. So quite the specialty. Their cuisine is a blend of African, European, and Native American. And they are known for dishes such as the shrimp and grits, seafood stews, and a lot of what we would call Southern cooking. So we ate plenty of oysters, shrimp and grits, fried chicken, and couldn't get enough of it. We were just comparing them from restaurant to restaurant. And I won't list all the restaurants because it's so well known for how many good restaurants they have. I will just say there's all price points. So hit up the happy hours. And then I will call out just one restaurant that we just really enjoyed. It was called Leon's Fine Poultry and Oysters. And so this was a middle-of-the-road restaurant, not your, casual joint and not your high-end. It was actually built. It was a trendy restaurant built in an old gas station. And it was selling fried chicken and oysters, and it was decorated beautifully. So it was really, there was a line outside. It's very well known. And we had the fried chicken, and it was absolutely delicious. Other things you can do is just stroll King Street. And this street in Charleston is known for high-end boutiques, antique shopping, art galleries, and it's beautiful. I mean, Charleston is an upscale city. You will definitely feel that you need to have some money to be in this city, and you wouldn't be wrong. But it's fun to do, and every second Sunday of the month, the whole King Street closes down for cars, and it's just a pedestrian place, so that's fun. And one last thing here I can probably call out if you're downtown is to do a Halloween tour. It's October of 2025 right now, so Charleston is known as a great city if you love ghost tours, and Halloween's the perfect time to do it. So let me think of some other things that we did that were definitely worthy of me mentioning to you. We visited something called the Angel Oak Tree, and it was fantastic. So we weren't going to do it because it was about 15 minutes from where we were staying. It's just an oak tree. But it was so worth seeing. It's between 400 to 500 years old. Some people say it's much older than that. It could be up to 1,500 years old. But this will be the largest tree you've probably ever seen. It has withstood every natural disaster, and it has very unique growth. Like the branches have gone not only up, but also out. And then they eventually touch the ground. So look up the Angel Oak Tree and you will just be amazed. It only takes you maybe 10 or 15 minutes to see it, but we went at like 10 in the morning and the lighting between the tree was just beautiful. So I would definitely recommend seeing it. At first people said we really, the others said, I'm not sure I care about seeing this tree. And after we went, we all were like, gosh, it would have been terrible to miss it. So try to fit it in. The other thing we did is we went to Foley Beach. And so why did we do that? Well, we were staying in a really nice Airbnb. And this was right between Charleston and Foley Beach. So Charleston is on the coast, and you have an opportunity to also see a beach if you're there. And staying in this Airbnb was fantastic. It was less expensive than the hotels. Charleston can be quite pricey. We looked, and many of the nice hotels were $500 to $600 a night. And there was 3 of us, and we all want our own space. So to get, 3 hotel rooms, it starts to really, add up. We ended up with a nice 3-bedroom Airbnb, and that it really worked perfect because we always pick one that has a great family room and big TVs to hang out. So just remember that you don't have to pay those prices downtown. As I said, it's a pretty pricey city. Find an Airbnb 20 minutes away, and you won't be sorry. It's very easy. So what is Foley Beach like? It was only 25 minutes from our Airbnb, and it was really cool. It was a laid-back, 6-mile-long barrier island, and it's actually nicknamed the Edge of America. And I'm going to cover it in the next episode because I'll be talking about when you visit these cities, how you can definitely combine them with beach vacations. So next, let's move to Savannah. After we were done in Charleston, we drove the 2 hours to Savannah, and it is a historic and architecturally beautiful city. It's known for a very unique layout. It has so many public squares, which help preserve its heritage and charm. This city was founded in 1733, and it was the first planned city in the United States. There's actually a grid system with 24 public squares. Well, today there's only 22 of them that remain, but the original design was for 24 squares. These squares are surrounded by historic buildings, and it contributes to being a very walkable city. Forsyth Park is the largest green space, and it features a beautiful fountain, and we absolutely loved it. I mean, that was one of the main reasons we wanted to come to Savannah, just to see that park. It's also called the hostess city of the South due to its reputation for hospitality. It's celebrated for historic charm. There's cobblestone streets. It has a vibrant arts and cultural scene. And one of the things that's interesting is there's the Savannah College of Art and Design, and they call it SCAD. And we actually saw this college, and they basically were pulling people in. They have a 4D interactive show. And I don't know if you want to call it a promotion or recruiting for the college. We didn't know what it was, but we went in, and like I said, it's free. And they go through this very interesting, I guess it's a recorded video that you get to go through several rooms, but it is interactive. And it talks about how it was the first creative college. It was so impressive. So if you have anyone in your family that is very creative and they're looking for a creative college, look into the Savannah College of Art and Design. It's a cornerstone of this city, and the college students have done a lot to restoring a lot of the buildings in Savannah. So what else can I tell you about it? This has been also very popular in movies. So I don't know if you know about the book or the film Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. It's a 1997 movie. I had not heard about it, but it seems to be a very famous movie, and it was filmed here. There are so many locations and references around the town about this movie or book. So I highly recommend watching the movie before you come to visit Savannah. I can tell you the plot is centered around like a real-life murder and the subsequent trial that takes place in Savannah, Georgia, where a wealthy antique dealer is accused of killing his much younger lover. It seems really good, so I'm going to definitely watch it now. I just wish I would have watched it before I went to Savannah. Also, a very popular movie that you may have seen, Forrest Gump, has many scenes actually filmed in Savannah. And there's a iconic park bench located in Chippewa Square there. So what are some of the other things? I talked about Forsyth Park, and this is the picture in my mind of what made me want to go to Savannah. It is the area that has all the beautiful oak trees with the moss. And this moss is like an air plant that grows on the oak trees, and it's so beautiful. So we went to this park on a Sunday, and we had brunch at the Collins Quarter restaurant, which is very highly rated. And of course, I got shrimp and grits again. It was an absolutely beautiful day. You can explore the historic district, which is made up of many of these squares that we talked about. This actually reminded me a little of Philadelphia, which is close to where I am from. And we saw people taking horse and carriage rides, and it was just very, very nice. They also have trolley tours, and many of them are ghost tours. So both Charleston and Savannah have that in common. They have a lot of ghost tours. So thinking about, why this was a scary city, we actually did visit a cemetery. There is a famous cemetery, Bonaventure Cemetery, and we just happened to pass it, and we did go in. And again, this has a very strong connection to the book, The Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, and many of the ghost tours go through this. It was very we went in the daytime, and it was still creepy then, so I can't imagine what it would be like at night. We also got to wander around the River District. This is completely different than the Historic District. It's on the water. And there were restaurants and markets and shopping, and they have peanut stores. There's a lot of peanuts in the area. Also pralines. And what a praline is it's a pecan, which is a nut, and it's in a brown, sugary patty. I will tell you, they were so good, but also so sweet. I can't imagine eating very much of this, but it was delicious. And you'll get to try them. They hand out free samples everywhere. In this area, you can do a riverboat cruise, and that's nice. The last thing I think I really want to mention is there is an amazing hotel in this area. When we went to Savannah, we stayed in an Airbnb again, but this hotel is where I would have stayed if I picked a hotel. It's called the J.W. Marriott Savannah Plant Riverside District. Quite a name. But there's actually 2 Marriotts on the riverfront. One is more outdated. You don't want that one. You want the J.W. Marriott Savannah Plant Riverside District. If you look it up, you'll see they're very, very different. This, again, is a very expensive hotel, but it has museum-like art, and there's dinosaurs, and the restaurants are themed, and it really is quite the hotel. So it was fun even visiting it while we were in that district. They also have almost like a convention center attached to it, and there was the jazz festival going on, so we were able to see some of that. The rooms were all over $600 a night when I looked at that place as well. But we chose to stay this would be our second Airbnb, and this was between Savannah and TB Island. So again, the Airbnb situations worked out really well for us. We love having our own rooms, but that shared space and the kitchen, we like to eat out most meals because this trip wasn't that long, but it's nice to be able to have a kitchen as well. So one of the things that this Airbnb had that was special and reminded us of the South is a big front porch. And we love to get pictures when we're anywhere on a front porch in the rocking chairs. So we were able to do this not only at a plantation, but also at our own Airbnb. So I will tell you, while we were in Savannah, we did visit TB Island. It was laid back and casual and very family friendly. And there's 5 miles of beaches. But again, I'll cover TB Island and Foley Beach in another episode. So as a final comparison, both cities are amazing and worth a visit. Both have great Southern food. But I think if I had to choose only one to go back to, I would choose Savannah. Savannah is laid back, quirky, and just very welcoming. We met a nice woman sitting in Forsyth Park. She had lived in Charleston, Atlanta, and Savannah, and her comment to us was that folks in Charleston are very interested in your family heritage. In Atlanta, people want to know how much money you have, and in Savannah, they just ask you, well, what is your drink? And so that kind of sums it up. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Travels with Alicia. In the next episode, I will cover the coastal destinations near Charleston and Savannah. There is so much more you should do if you're in the area. Stay tuned and find out.